Alright, so ideally what we're going to do is we're going to take our flat plane here. Instead of ending at this plane, if we bring this out to here, where the structure lines up with the bumper, either here or here if it can curve up enough into the inside of the bumper, then what we'd be doing is our base mounting location would actually be these bolt holes right here, here and here, off the oil coolers. And then since I have, this bracket for this center one, you're gaining 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 here. So the way that this ties in here is going to be very, very sturdy, almost like a skid plate. So this would go to the front bumper opening, right? And essentially I'm trying to get as much directed airflow from this mouth into our region here. So we have the air filter is going to be up here. It's huge, so it's pretty much like here to here, and it blocks a good chunk of this. I'm actually mounting it off of this bracket here. This goes up. This is the center line of a 6-inch round air filter. So imagine this all the way across. Okay. Then the other part of the carburetor has to go up, past the filter, and over to seal off the area. And we want to do that like this because we need to give some airflow to this filter. We need to get a lot of airflow to the this is our fuel cooler. The one next to this thing is our power steering cooler. We've got 2 oil coolers, and then of course we have a radiator and AC condenser. So when you've got 20 gallons of shit in a 5-gallon bucket, this is what happens. So I'm gonna do the best I can to make the air diverting actually make sense. And because we have just a fuck ton of cardboard and Home Depot bracketry, because let's be honest guys, I got screwed on fabrication really bad last time. So I decided to start with simple brackets, build something to what I need, take a finalized version off of the vehicle. Like for instance, this guy goes right here. If you look at this oil cooler, this goes, well, that's really hard to actually do with one hand. Oh yeah, by the way, I cut my hand, so of course, go figure. This fits like that, and these bolt holes are perfect. So when I take these finalized projects out like this, I'll have a little air diverter plane right here. Then I'm going to have an air diverter plane right here to make sure anything that we can grab from, this region does not go down underneath the car. We want to capture it in this region, which is kind of counterintuitive for aerodynamics, but because we're trying to have a very high pressure zone and a very low pressure zone behind the engine and a huge ventilation here, we'll have suction from this region and we'll have suction from this fan. So if I can block as much as I can inside this small inlet, I can divert that internally. So the tough part is going to be balancing between oil coolers, radiator, and intercooler. And then you also have, like I said, a huge filter, which goes right here. And so here's the start of the brackets. They're razor sharp, which is how I somehow managed to cut my hand. That was stupid. So I'll be blocking off these regions building a little wall out. Then off of the wall, I'm going to have bolt holes for each of the little steps. So one curve goes down here, one curve goes a little higher, this curve goes straight out. So just like this one has an extra, 1.5 inches where my thumb is at, this is past that, see? So now I have something to build off of. When all is said and done, in between the cardboard and the cheap Home Depot shit, I take it apart, and then right here I've got this incredibly high-end diamond plate aluminum. So this stuff is beefy. It looks exactly like my my header shield stuff. So it looks like this. And so I'm getting this whole theme back in the engine bay of very rich colors, wrinkled black, a beautiful bronze, and this. So really trying to bring up the quality of the build on the final few steps. And like I said, all these little temporary bracket things, this is for me to better visualize what the car needs, because we've gone through essentially 4 fabricators between all the small stuff, and so some things are just not in agreement with each other. So I'm now in the process of, I want to keep this for the time being that Tony did, because it's really well done, but I have to reinforce this mounting hole right here. This thing, I feel like it's stripped out, and I rethreaded it and it's still not good. So I've got some of those hex rib nut boys, and I'll use those to see if I can reinforce that. But here's kind of the overall layout. I took what would have been dead space right here, and I dropped in fuel cooler and power steering cooler. And overall, I think I pretty much optimized what I could do in a very small chassis. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work to get us to the finish line, but we're getting there. So anyways, shitty brackets and cardboard can lead to some really cool stuff. So I can actually import all this into CAD, send it off to Send Cut Send, get everything laser cut, etched, whatever I wanted to do, and have like, okay, weld this bracket, weld this arm, do this, and then I have all my holes already located, so that whenever I'm doing it, I can have, like, let's say a weld nut or a riv nut or something that's already on those brackets and already welded. So I'll get the strength I need, I'll get the quality, and I won't get shit like this. Yeah, that was expensive. That was like $4,000. $5,000 actually. That and the rear end was like $5,000. So anyways, getting back to it, and I will be out in the garage for the rest of the week for some small stuff, but right now I'm just in the process of cleaning everything up, and I can't do too much more of this until I have the engine in and all the inlet piping, which is like, inlet piping goes way over here and snakes up and goes around, and without everything finally installed and it's all powder coated and shit, there's no reason to do this final stuff. So this is just me getting like rough ideas of concepts. So making a plane across here, making a plane across here, figure out where I want to mount it up, figuring out strength, like this thing is strong with even just 2 bolts and 2 bolts. So it's just a good temporary break from all the work. So getting back to it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Cheers all.